You've been good all year, and the night is here. We are Spitball Media, and this is our biggest show of the year. We are counting down the top 5 horror films of 2024. My name is John Draper. Shah Shaheen is with us in Philly. Shah, I can't believe it's finally here.
Dude, this is the long-awaited episode. This is my favorite episode, hands
Oh
down.
yeah,
That's what I
hands
look
down.
forward
Not
to.
even, not even close.
And honestly, I'm on probably right around 2.5 hours of sleep from last night. If
Hot.
we weren't doing this episode tonight, I would have 100% called out tonight because I'd be sleeping.
Called
I couldn't.
out. Gets an
I
office
couldn't.
job.
Yeah, I couldn't today,
You
man.
would have
This
took
is.
a sick day.
I
You would
would
have
have.
took a
I would have
sick
taken
day?
a PTO day, man. I mean, today I couldn't miss this day. So I'm actually very excited.
Well, there was no chance that was happening if you were on 30 seconds of sleep. Bisha O'Brien, the king of Ohio. I mean, I can't believe it's here. I really can't believe it's here.
I know. December 19th came so fucking quick.
Oh
It
my
was like the
God.
first time I ever touched a
It
fucking
was like me
vagina,
on
dude.
prom night when I got dry humped in an apartment building vestibule. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You said it came so fast, but go ahead. Go ahead.
I think we were on the same wavelength, though. I think
Pretty
we got it.
much. Pretty much.
But no, this is like it's funny. It was all horror movies, all Halloween. Now it's been Christmas time and watching a lot of Christmas movies with the kids and trying to sneak in the last minute horror movies that I haven't seen. So it's been fun. It's been a great year, and hope you guys are having fun.
Yes, and if you're joining us for the first time, what a weird way to check out the show. But please consider going to patreon.com/spitball media. $5. Shah, I mean, if you haven't gotten yourself a gift yet, this would be a great gift to give yourself or a loved one or an acquaintance. $5.
Yeah, man. $5 is nothing. I was at a bar this past weekend, bro. I bought a shot with the tip included. I gave the guy a 20, but long story short, the double shot it wasn't even a double shot, really. It looked like a double shot. $20, man. $20.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Jesus Christ.
$20 for a shot is fucking crazy, man.
Jesus Christ. You know, a friend of mine he ordered a fancy bourbon shot from a $1,700 bottle, and it was $30 B-show for a single shot.
I mean, that makes sense. I had a shot of Patron. Why the fuck is Patron
$30 for like a no, I'm dead ass serious.
Not even like a smoked old fashioned.
No, I'll send you guys a picture of it. But Bisho, $5. I mean, if you haven't gotten a stocking stuffer yet, this would be an excellent stocking stuffer.
I went out and tried to do last minute shopping for my kids for like stocking stuffer, and there was very, very little of quality stuff I could get for $5. But for $5 a month, you could get our entire back catalog, all the way back to the Break the Apocalypse days, all the bonus shows, which we're all going to kick out our own bonus show for December for you to make sure we make up for the weird schedule. And no, great value.
Yeah, and for those of you already in the Patreon, here's the schedule. And for the non-Patreon, we're going to go live Monday at 8:30 this Monday for the first time probably ever on a Monday. And then, of course, we'll be off the whole week for the holiday. And then the following Monday. And then if you're on the Patreon, we're going to give you each our individual solo shows. So there'll be no post shows. There'll be a post show tonight, but there'll be no post shows for the rest of the year. And of course, Shah, listen, if they haven't already gotten that gift, they got plenty of time to get in on it right away for the Christmas.
Yeah, man, you got a decent amount of time. And I think honestly, dude, this is like, I know I said this in October, but the holiday season is the perfect time to get the Patreon just because we do the themed shows. Of course, we got Q&As, backlog, a bunch of Q&As that, are pretty much timeless because it's just random questions. So you can listen to it at any point. But yeah, go check it out, man. Treat yourself.
Yeah, treat yourself. And Bisha O'Brien, who do we got hanging out with us tonight? I know a lot of people have been asking us about this show, asking me, sending me DMs. Who's chilling?
Yeah, we got Chuck.
What up, Chuck?
We got John JLD 999.
Always chilling with us, Mr. JLD.
We have the Cheeky Slave Cheeks.
Old school Slave Cheeks is old school.
Joe Punches.
Joe Punches is ready to go. I could tell Joe Punches is ready for this.
Chris Matthews.
Good friend of the show, Chris Matthews.
AEW Neckbeards is in the house.
My buddy Neckbeards.
Terrell T's in the house.
Oh, Terrell, old school friend of mine right there, Terrell.
Kevco TV.
Love the Kevco. Big fan of his.
And I think that's it. Don Stoney snuck in there. There we go.
Oh, Don Stoney. Don Stoney, by the way, our first bonus show of January is going to be courtesy of you. Just so you know.
Yeah, he was hitting me up about that over the weekend. Like, when's it going to be? Because we left him hanging.
Well,
But
because
yeah.
Don Stoney, this is the busiest time of the year. So we're going to be doing Don Stoney. Don Stoney. January we'll be doing the Q&A at the end of the month and the Don Stoney question that he gave us, the rapid fire. So did you let him know about that, Mr. B?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Hopefully he was happy with that. Of course, he's getting a whole show based on his own idea. I don't know if we've ever done that before, guys. Have we ever done that before? Like literally, Shah, ever take one person's question, regardless of how dense it is, and made a whole show out of it?
I think Drew Yari, we made a show out of his question one time.
Yeah.
Okay. Don Stoney, thank you. We love you. Listen, before we proceed, I just want to say thank you. This was, Mr. Blaine RT. What's up, Mr. Blaine RT? This was such an amazing year. We really have had so much fun with you guys. Thank you so much. And whatever you do, celebrate. I hope you enjoy it. If you celebrate the Hanukkah, the Christmas, the Ramadan, if you're a Satanist, whatever it is, if you worship the earth, if you're a witch of some kind, if you're some sort of gargoyle, some sort of demon, just enjoy it. Just enjoy the hell out of it. And we're happy to have you here. All right, guys, enough. This is it. Meat and potatoes. And we would like you all to drop yours. If you want to count along with us, if you have a 5, we're going 5-1. And because he looks like an old school ska person, I'm going to go with Bisho O'Brien. You look like you just got out of like a very late 90s ska concert with your cap.
It's the cap, man. I've been wearing it more often now.
Peaky Blinders, Bisho O'Brien, you're going to have the first pick in the draft, so to speak. We're going to you right now. Everybody's ready. Your number 5 horror film of a very interesting, I think, a loaded 2024.
I went back and forth on this a lot. I tried not to think about it too much leading up to like today. And then today I put some time in. And when I put my list together, I think maybe 2 hours ago, it was completely different than it is right now. So I'm going to say that it was a very crowded year. And honestly, I think we're probably all at the point where we have a solid 7 and we could probably rotate in any of them arguably at any time. So I'm going to start with a movie that I thought was really good. A little slow at points, but effective in A Violent Nature.
Whoa, did not expect that. Okay. Damn. Well, I mean, Shah, I'll say this. I think The Violent Nature had the kill scenes of the year. There's nobody even close.
I agree. So I originally had 15 titles. A Violent Nature was number 11 for me for the year. So it didn't even crack my top 10, but it was my number 11. I liked it. I definitely had the coolest kills. I would say Terrifier had some cool ones. Honestly, Smile had some cool ones. There was a lot of good kills this year. Even Substance had some dope ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just thought they were so effective. Maybe it's kind of member berries for me to see something so close to a Friday the 13th movie. It checked that box.
Yeah, you're a huge fan of that franchise, so that spoke to you right there.
But like, I don't know, like we've talked about the kills, like going under the water and walking all the way across the lake, shit like that. The yoga girl, when you think
the lake,
stop.
I forgot about that.
I know there's just so many good parts, and again, I know it's flawed. Arguably, I could replace that with something else we'll mention probably on the post show, but that was my number 5 in A Violent Nature.
Definitely, I find that that's going to be in a lot of people's list. I enjoyed it. I loved seeing it in the theater. It's a strange film. I think it let a lot of people down because, Shah did have kind of a dragging story, and the first person thing, watching him walk like it's Red Dead Redemption, was not for everybody.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm kind of one of those people. I think it dragged a little bit even for me. So that specific scene that B-Show was a big fan of, I actually kind of hated because I felt like it dragged forever. I was just like waiting. I'm like, dude, we're just looking at a lake. It's been like 7 minutes. Like, come the fuck on.
Well, he had to walk. I mean, they gave a realistic expectation. Motherfucker had to walk through the lake.
I know, but during the movie, like it does drag a little bit, man.
It definitely drags. But I think it was so unique, and I imagine that's for B. I imagine that's a part, like you just didn't see any movie like this year, right?
No, and honestly, there's a couple of movies on my list. One of which is going to make my honorable mentions that probably would have ranked like number 3, but it wasn't really a horror movie to me, even though people called it that. So this is almost a gimme. I just went based on like what ones I thought were effective, ones I really liked, and
it's an excellent pick. I did not see that coming, actually. Shah, they're ready for it. I can only imagine how difficult this was for you.
Oh, dude, I had 9 movies that I could
I can
literally
see.
switch in and out, and I was like, yo, like all these 9 are fucking bangers. Like I love every single one of these. I originally didn't think my number 5 was going to be this at all. I didn't even think this was going to crack top 5, to be honest with you. I knew it was going to be top 10, but I didn't think it was going to be top 5. For me, though, I'm going to choose Alien Romulus.
Whoa!
I
didn't
thought
see
I
that
thought they
coming.
really took it back. You know, it gave me those old Alien vibes. I like the gore. I love that fucking old alien just hanging off. Like I like the tall man at the end. You know, like a lot of people hated that. I really like that. I like that tie-in with Prometheus. Like I enjoyed it. If you haven't seen Alien Romulus, go check it out. What I will complain about as far as Alien Romulus is, obviously I'm a physical media collector. I want to buy this shit on 4K, dude. Disney has jacked up these prices like crazy. The Steelbook is like $50 for this fucking movie.
God.
Just a regular Steelbook. There's no reason for this to be $50. They just put out the
Jesus.
Mandalorian. This shit's like $80 on Steelbook.
Oh, holy shit!
What? $80?
$80
Crazy.
For the Mandalorian?
Yeah.
for the Mandalorian. Wow.
God.
And what was that other one? Loki.
Loki. Yeah.
That's like
Bishop
$80. It's crazy.
O'Brien. I'm surprised with this pick from Shah. I have to say.
I honestly didn't even think about it. And that's what I'm saying. There's a couple movies on this list where I didn't even think of as horror movies. So if I thought about it, Alien Romulus probably would have been one of my honorable mentions. But yeah, it does surprise me with all the movies
Would have
that
been in my
came
top
out.
10. Would have been in
Yeah,
my
oh,
top
definitely.
10.
Definitely.
You
But
know.
yeah, what was Sean? His taste in movies, I'm really surprised that ranked number 5.
Yeah, Shah, I rewatched it recently. It's a very good-looking movie. I will say this: I literally 5 minutes ago, I got off the phone with Mike from the Necromaniacs podcast, and he asked me, "Is Aliens Romulus going to be on anyone's list?" And I said, "I think you could ask my brother Mike, who's going to hear this. I'm pretty sure it might be on Shaheen's, but I doubt it. I don't think it's going to be on anybody's list." My brother was like, "Really?" And then we discussed what we didn't like about the movie. And I said to my brother, I hated the fucking cast. I didn't like almost any, but the main girl's great. She was very good. And I liked the android guy. My brother Mike said he hated everyone in the cast. There's just, you don't like any. He goes, it was such an odd European cast for a space movie. And he was right. I mean, but it is made by a European director and it's shot in Europe. And you know what I mean? It's not the greatest cast as far as I'm concerned.
They're in the water, bruv. They're in the water, bruv.
Oh,
like,
hey, in the
what
wall.
fuck?
I was like, no. You know what I'm saying, Shah? Did you like the cast?
To be honest with you, dude, it didn't even register in my mind. I didn't recognize anybody, but I didn't particularly hate anybody from it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't really think about that. I will mention this, though. The reason why it's probably a surprise that Alien Romulus made my top 5 is I kind of based it on which ones I would rewatch, like rewatchability. Because there is artsier art house horror movies that I probably do enjoy more as far as my taste, but would I want to visit them again in a year? Probably not. Alien Romulus, it's one of those movies. It's an easy watch. You know what I mean?
It is an easy watch.
It's an easy watch.
It's
you
an
know?
easy watch.
So
yeah, I
that's
enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. It didn't blow me away. What's up? Shout out to Backwards Baron Corbin chilling. I'm going to give my top 5. This was very difficult for me. And I'm going to say this. All 5 of my movies, every one of them could have been number 1. Like I really feel like it could be anybody's number 1. Now, this eked out a very close 6 for me, only because I just rewatched this movie in particular as it hit streaming. And I was like, wow. There was so many little things I didn't appreciate when I saw it the first time. I'm talking about the sequel to Smile 2. I very much enjoyed this movie. I absolutely loved the tone, the cinematography. The fucking score is brutal in that movie. The ending is a mind fuck on a I can't believe. Like, they should just close the door now because now it's almost like an apocalyptic film. But for me, Smile 2 did not let me down at all. I thought it was just as good as the first one, B-Show, but obviously the first one being the introduction is always a standout. But yeah, it really, as I watched it, and the lead actress just destroyed that movie. I mean, she just killed that fucking movie.
Yeah, in fact, that's my number 4.
Oh, Fangulo!
Yeah, I mean, we'll just keep it rolling, but and go back and forth. But yeah, honestly, I don't know how you can watch. I know people said it wasn't for them, even though it was good. Between the lead, her performance carrying that movie, and the terror and dread in her
Oh,
entire being, and the end of the movie,
oh, the end.
like the everything, the reveal. I don't want to spoil anything because it's still pretty fresh. But like honestly, I don't know how I couldn't have ranked it in my top five.
Yeah,
It
it
was one of
really.
those movies that I thought, okay, this might be a Blumhouse movie. I've seen the first one. I know how it
I know. That's
happens,
what I thought too.
and then didn't even think it was going to rank in my
Me
top
neither.
5 or 10.
Me
And
neither.
as soon as I saw it, I'm like, top 5 movie. So yeah,
Shah,
I'm
now
there.
Shah, I just want to bring because you're gonna. This is actually B show's number 4, but I wanted to get your take on the film. Before we asked you your 4.
Yeah, I actually I watched this for the first time last night.
Oh
So
my God!
less than
Wow.
24 hours ago, I watched Smile 2. I fucking love this movie. I like it more than the first one, to be honest with you.
Can I ask why
I
you
do.
liked it more than? What did you appreciate it more?
The reveal at the end, I like that
Oh,
concept.
it's fucking madness.
Yeah, I think the third one's gonna be batshit crazy. I think the third one's gotta be fucking crazy. And dude, I did not expect this movie to be as violent as it was. There is some brutal scenes in this, which one is in the trailer with the weight. Everybody's seen that. Like, I
That's
didn't
great.
expect them to
That's
go
the
as hard.
easiest. That's the easiest scene. Like that's like the
Yeah,
least
yeah.
fucked up scene.
yeah, but they drag it to the point where you're like, oh, again? Oh shit, dude! What the fuck? I didn't expect it, man.
Yeah.
Um, I really liked the ending, man. I thought the reveal was
Oh,
incredible. This would have been my number 6. It didn't quite make my top 5.
it was mine for a long
Yeah.
time. It was my number 6. Shah, let me ask you a question since it's on B Show's list, and before we get to your number 4, did B Show had mentioned previously that he felt the creature, where they elevated the creature, didn't look as good as it did in the previous one. What was your take on the creature compared to the previous one?
I think the close-ups look good. I know exactly what he's talking about. It's when it's like kind of coming out.
Yeah,
The CGI
me
kind
too.
of looks
Yeah,
a little silly, but
it looks like
bother.
it looks like the retarded alien. It looks like the retarded alien.
It didn't bother me as much as like it didn't ruin the movie for me. I didn't think it was that bad. Because the close-ups looked good, with the hands and
Oh, when it goes into her mouth and you
yeah,
literally see
like that part looked really good. The face itself looked really good.
when the
I'm not
pulling
sure
the
if that was
face.
practical. I'm assuming the face was practical.
Oh,
I'm
that
not sure.
was
But
fucked up.
yeah, I really liked it. I thought it was good, man. I thought it was
The
good.
mother scene was pretty intense too. I don't see
Yeah.
enough people talking about that. Is a fucked up Bijou. Like that was fucked up.
That's when I completely lost bearings and was like, okay, all bets are off. I have no idea what's going on right now because
For me, it was the car scene with her friend. That was with the phone.
yes, yeah.
That was one of my complaints, though. It started to annoy me because I'm like, wait, what's real and what's not? Like, what the fuck is going on?
It's a
you know what I
mind
mean?
fuck. It
Yeah,
was a
that
total
started to
mind
kind of annoy me a little bit because I was like, yo, what
I'm
is
sorry,
happening?
you would talk about the mom. I'm sorry. I cut
Oh,
you.
it's,
Yeah.
no, it's all right because like I actually I appreciated the movie and how it was like it could have been allegory for drug addiction
Oh,
and
yeah.
paranoia. It could have been allegory for
Loneliness.
yeah, and isolation
Success.
and
Yeah,
super famous.
the
and
isolation
everyone-
of being famous and successful.
Yeah, and it could have been anything, any of those things. So like in 20 years when what's his name? Eli Roth hosts another horror history thing and people talk about what it really means, it could mean any of that stuff.
Yeah.
It's fucking great.
Before we get to Shah's 4, I just want to ask you guys something. I feel like there's not enough talk about the score. That synth, like, boom, like Shah, they had those wide upside down shots with the boom, fucked up.
Yeah, I actually didn't even notice the score until the girl I was watching it with. She mentioned it. She was like, the music is like really elevating this whole thing. And then I was like, oh shit, this music is really like it's pretty incredible score. The upside down shots, it looked cool at first, but I thought they did it too often. You know what I mean? Like I felt like every 10 minutes.
And they
they're
did do
flipping
it in the
camera.
previous film. It is a style sort of. It's a signature.
Even the title screen, it starts off with the
I
upside
love
down
it.
idea. You know,
Love
what I
the
mean?
opening scene too, which
Yeah.
really takes place very shortly after that. That was a great way with the car and the blood and this.
Yeah,
Bisho,
it made
you
the
like
smile.
the smile. Bisho, what did you think of the
Yeah.
score?
The score, very effective, and it was a lot of movies it's overdone and it's over stylized. This seemed to just really dial in, and again, not to blow Carpenter like I do all the time, but his thing was like I'm laying a carpet under a really nice house. I'm accentuating things. I don't want to
Yeah.
over whatever, and this did that perfectly. So when you saw the camera upside down, you got a sense of dread, or when other things happened, it was highlighting it. It wasn't over the top.
Yeah,
So.
it's my 5. It's B Show's 4. Shah, they're ready for your number 4.
Yeah, this one was hard for me because it was very similar to another movie that didn't quite make my top 5, but they were very similar. But my number 4 caught me off guard. I didn't because it's a 20th Century Fox, I think, movie. The First Omen. I didn't expect it.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't expect this to move me as much as it did, man. Because it reminded me of one of these like A24 neon type of movies, but it's done by a major studio.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I was not expecting at
Was
all.
shot, I think, almost entirely in Italy, right?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, incredible sets. The kills are pretty fucking brutal. There's a vagina scene. Like, I don't know what else you want from this movie.
There's an actual birth scene. There's a
Yeah,
real,
which
looks
surprised
pretty
me.
real.
I was shocked they took it that far because I'm like, yo, what this is a major studio movie and we're looking at like a demonic vagina. Like, what the fuck is going on here?
Well, like all vaginas are demonic, but
All
Yeah, they really
vaginas
are.
demons.
these shows, did you see it and you just, or am I conflating it with the other Satan movies?
I watched Immaculate and the First Omen
First
like
Omen.
back
They
to
came out
back.
very closely. Yeah, they came out.
So I get them confused. I think I got them straight, but no, I like the First Omen a lot. It didn't rank for me, but I know Shah brought up before like the shadows of like the demon or spider type of design. It's all the way through the movie. A lot of Easter eggs, almost like we talked about with some other movies this year.
Yeah.
And like the style, like I love that old. And I don't know if it's because like it's ancient and tradition and old robes and garb and like brick and mortar shit, but like just this ancient weird stuff and chanting. It just something that's just kind of in your bones that we don't see a whole lot anymore of that I really enjoy.
Yeah, it felt, almost, guys, it felt like Shah, like one of those like 60s movies with Satan or 70s movies with a massive cast
Right.
shot overseas, and people are really, and the acting's good. Like, it's good acting. Like, people are actually very good. It's not like a schlocky low budget. It didn't feel low budget or anything like that.
Yeah, it very much had the same feel to it as like a Rosemary's Baby, the original Exorcist, the original Omen. And I think that's obviously what they were going for. But
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's what made me gravitate towards this movie also a lot was
Yeah.
because of that exact same reason. It felt like a 60s and 70s horror movie, just with much more, beautiful cinematography and all that shit. But it did have that 60s feel to it, which I appreciate. And B Show is right, man. Like those costumes and, the old, the architecture in Rome or wherever they were at, like it that adds so much to the movie. Those are things you can't CGI, and I know they do it in some movies, but it's not the same, dude. It's just not the same,
Well, I saw it in theaters. It was a good theater watch. The ending, I kind of go back and forth with for people. I don't want to ruin it, even at this point, for people who've seen it. It kind of ends like an action movie. It ends almost like a Die Hard. That was a little strange for me. But I'm going to go on to my number 4. This was very difficult for me because I saw this movie earlier in the year, and I was a little, I thought it was great, but I was a little like, I think it was so maybe overhyped. And then I saw it a second time, and it just barreled me over with like so much substance. The style of it is great, but the substance of what I was watching, the performances. Now that the hype had left and I got to see it a second time, I am talking about Longlegs. Very easily could have been the movie of the year for anybody's horror list. For me, I enjoyed this in a theater more the second time, which is odd. It's not a Marvel movie, or that kind of thing. But I think the thing that really stood out to me was it wasn't just I got past the Nicolas Cage performance because I knew I was getting that. It was the lead's performance. It was the other supporting actress's performance. It was what's his face from LA Law's performance. Like, you know what I'm saying, Bisho? Like I got to sink my teeth, and it was the usage of the music, of using like T-Rex and and the cars and how things looked at night. I mean, it's just such a superb film.
It's an experience. I mean, and I think that's part of the reason why maybe I don't know, maybe I couldn't take it all in the first time. It's on my list, so we'll talk about it soon. But
Of course.
honestly, I think we were all trying to figure it out. There's so many pieces. You're trying to put the puzzle together. You're trying to understand it, and I think it prevents you from really absorbing it and enjoying everything.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe it's due a second time around. I can definitely see that. But no, you're right. Like I think we talked about. I legit was wondering if Micah Monroe, and I don't mean this as a dispersion, but I legit was wondering if she had Asperger's.
Yes, if she was
Be-
like, yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, 100%.
yeah, and apparently she doesn't. But like
No.
she was playing it so awkward and dialed in that like it was awesome. And the funny thing is, everyone was talking about Nicolas Cage going into that movie,
Yeah.
but it was everybody else's performances that really struck me
Yeah.
coming out of it.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah. Shah, did you take that too away from it now that you've seen it and had to digest it? I mean, I know it's a favorite of yours too, but like if you even take Nicolas Cage out of it, it's a superb, like fucking edgy, crazy movie.
Yeah, and honestly, anybody could have probably been Nicolas Cage. Like I feel like he was replaceable in that movie because most of it is makeup. Like you didn't really, it could have been anybody under there, really. I'm sure you could find somebody creepy enough to do some sing-alongs in a car and all that stuff. But this movie, man, yeah, there you go. Yeah, you could have done it, man.
I totally could have done it.
I fucking loved it, man. Again, it was shot very differently than a lot of movies. Like it had a creep factor to it for completely different reasons. I'd never really been scared of like looking at windows, but this movie like made me uncomfortable with windows, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why do I feel uncomfortable looking at the doorway? But it was the way it was shot, just like the light work, you know. Even in the beginning, like the snow and everything, it looks kind of creepy. It has
the nighttime, like the sky feels so close to the ground.
Yeah.
Like when they show up, and I'm like, why does the second time I saw it, I was like, why does the sky look like you could touch it? Like if you were like 20 feet tall, or something like that. And look, it's a superb film. It's superb. It really is going to be talked about for a long time. And Osgood Perkins, the director, his next movie comes out in 2 months. The Monkey comes out in 2 fucking months. And I think we're going to be right back. I honest to God think we're going to be right back here talking about him again. I really do. But this easily could have been number 1. But there was just overall better films as far as I'm concerned. Bisho, Brian, you're number 3, a prime slot here. I'm sure this was not an easy task.
Before I go there, I want to drop back a minute because I know we were asking people what theirs
Yeah, we
were.
should probably do a little catch up for people if we can, if you wouldn't mind, just some people's favorites there.
Yep. So Adam Roach says his number 4 was Abigail.
I think his number 5 he gave us a number 5 too, Adam.
I'm gonna go backwards through.
Oh, sorry about that.
It's all right. Looks like Chris Matthews' number 4 was Terrifier 3.
Okay.
Chris Matthews' number 5 was Strange Darling.
Wow.
Let's see. Don Stoney, number 5, Long Legs. Number 4, Smile 2.
Solid.
John JLD's number 4 was Monkey Man.
Oh, Monkey Man. Okay.
And then let's see. Long Legs was number 4 for Joe Punches.
Yes, I saw that.
And I think someone else drew an.
Adam's number 5 is Sting. Damn, I got to see that movie.
Wow.
I just bought that. I haven't seen it yet though.
Shit.
Sting and Infested, both are Spider movies, right?
Yeah, I feel like I maybe saw Sting.
I started Sting the one night and just didn't finish it because there was like 3 other movies. Okay,
I'm living vicariously through you. Okay.
Oh, please, my life is not that interesting.
Well, it's a lot younger. So yeah.
So number 3. Sorry.
Okay, did we catch up to everybody's?
Yeah, I think Joe Punches said Terrifier 3. I think for number 5.
Okay.
If I read right. Yep.
Well, Bisho, they want to hear your number 3.
Well, interestingly enough, Long Legs. I didn't want to throw shit off again by saying that. It's funny. When I first watched it, maybe it was because it was early in the season, but
yeah,
originally I was like, okay, people are saying this. It was almost like when I watched the original Terrifier. People are like, oh, it's the next Halloween. It's this. Well, those are big shoes to fill. So when I watched the scariest movie of all time, Long Legs, I was like, eh.
Yeah, like me.
And I had so much built up that I was like, this is really good, but I was missing something. And then I went back and I thought about it more and then looked at some of the lore of the film. Like, well, we talked about he started hearing the voices when he was a glam rocker and then was obsessed with plastic surgery to make himself look pretty for the devil. Like, there's so much extra subtext in there that it made me appreciate the movie more. And even little things like when they start out the movie and it looks like they're shooting in like Super 8. And then and then it closes it almost like a home movie, a demonic home movie. And then it opens up, and then you're on the farm or whatever with the snow and the creepy fucking mom. Oh, that movie. It wasn't what I expected, but it's very, very good.
And very effective. I mean, I saw very few people poo-pooing on it. Shah, speaking of Long Legs, that's Bisho's 3. one of the other things I thought was interesting was, and this is just me, I don't know about you guys, but I couldn't tell what year it was. I knew it wasn't our timeline because the lack of cell phone usage and how it wasn't incorporated, or video cameras or ring cameras. But I found that worked good for, like, I didn't care. I knew it wasn't now, but I didn't give a fuck. You know what I mean, Shah?
Yeah, did we ever discover what period it was supposed to be? Because it
You
felt
could do
like
the math, because if you do the math from when, because they say the first year the family was killed, I think it's the
I
somebody.
thought it was the 90s,
It's
wasn't
the
I
it?
thought it was like
90s.
92.
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
do the math, if you do
But
the
it looks,
math,
it feels like this, like the 80s or 70s. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
more
Well,
of a tone.
I don't know if
Yeah.
you know this about places like the Midwest or the Pacific Northwest. We're like 5 or 6 years behind the rest of you
okay.
coastal folks.
Very
So,
true.
yeah.
Very, very, very true. But yeah, I mean, there's just no way that movie wouldn't make people's lists. I mean, there's just no way around it. Shah, do we have your number 3?
Man, we're gonna make this very easy because my number 3 is also Long Legs. You
Wow.
know?
Wow.
Had to be, man. Had to be.
Had to be there.
Had
It
to
had
be.
to
I've
be
watched it twice, and I definitely
number 4.
appreciated it more upon the second
Right?
one.
Right? It's
Yeah, the
better the
second
second
viewing-
time.
Yeah, the second viewing kind of puts a lot of things in perspective, and you start to catch a lot of little things. My only complaint about this movie is I wanted more depth to, like, the satanic cult. You know what I mean? We barely got, they touched on it, but it was barely anything. And I feel like, I mean, maybe the next movie, you know, there might be a sequel where they, you know, or a prequel.
I don't know. I mean, he doesn't seem like a sequel guy. He's a strange bird, that Osgood Perkins. He's not a typical bird there.
A prequel would be cool though if they
A
could kinda
prequel would be
explain it.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I
for
would like
sure.
to see that. You never
Yeah, I
know
would
though.
like
I mean,
to.
you look at Ty West. You know, he didn't really plan
Yeah,
on having a
that's true.
trilogy. And
No,
he's probably
I
got
mean,
my favorite trilogy of all time as far as horror. I can't name a better
quite
trilogy.
possible. Quite possible. And by the way, we brought this up recently, but it needs to be said. How the fuck is this not streaming somewhere? Like, I don't, like, why is this not on my cable channel, like on Cinemax or some shit? Like, where the fuck is this movie? Like honestly, it doesn't make any sense. I really believe they're holding it out, so this way, like, when the other movie comes out, you'd be like, well, they could watch this too. But that seems unlikely. My number 3, this was very, very difficult for me. My number 3. But I enjoyed this movie so much. I feel like not enough people I know saw it, so I didn't really get to talk about it with people that seen it. It is strictly performance driven, and it has one legendary performance in it, but also the other characters. There's not a lot of characters in this particular movie. It is an uncomfortable movie. It's a very it plays on religion so heavy that it's uncomfortable, but it's not insulting if you are a religious person. I'm talking about The Heretic. From an someone who has worked in the theater, to see Hugh Grant just eat this movie alive, and these two young women as the supporting cast there, the uncomfortable. There is so much uncomfortableness in this movie. From the very beginning, it's uncomfortable. They make you empathize with these two young women as LDS Mormons having to knock on doors. And Hugh Grant just completely, he's like a wolf, and he's like grandma. He's like the big bad wolf in grandma's clothing, Bisho. Like, he's just, but it's a performance driven movie. It's not for everybody. I do feel like if you don't really get into it, it's going to drag for you. But man, if you take that ride, Bisho, it is so intense.
I've heard nothing but good things so far. I was hoping to get to go see it, but I did not make it out to the theater, and I think it's not going to show on streaming for another couple weeks yet. So
Yeah.
it's a shame too that this movie came out so late in the year. I know it was a crowded year, but for the nominations we're seeing and from what you're telling us about kind of the subject matter, even though you're being kind of vague, it sounds very, very intriguing.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And Shah, you remember when we saw that trailer, we were just like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, man. I'm sad to say I haven't seen this yet. The Heretic and Cuckoo are the two main movies that I didn't watch this year. I think I hit everything else that I wanted to see. And these are the two that I really wanted to see, man.
Yeah, they're amazing trailers, both of them, right, Shah? Like, we were blown away by the trailers.
Yeah, I feel like if I watched The Heretic, it definitely probably would have made my top 5. I mean, it looked incredible, and it looks my type of movie. So, I did see Amazon has it for $20 to
It's
rent.
20
I think.
bucks. Yeah, it's 20
Um,
bucks.
But I'm sure it'll be down in a couple weeks if people want to check it out. Because Cuckoo and Front Room and Smile, everything else is like
Everything's
$6.
streaming right now. Yeah,
Yeah,
well, they're
everything's
streaming right
$6.
now too.
Yeah, Cuckoo's on Hulu. I watched
Cuckoo's
that
on
one last
Hulu. I'm
night.
watching it tomorrow with
Oh, is
Violet.
it?
Yeah, just got added. Just got added.
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
And Speak No Evil is now on Peacock. With Smile 2. Smile 2, I think, is on Paramount. I can't even keep up anymore. But, you know, if anybody who is yet to see this movie, when you see it, it's the kind of movie when you see, you talk about with a group of people. Like you have a conversation, a long, you know, specific conversation with people. I don't know why it didn't do better. It didn't do poorly, but it didn't blow the world up. I think putting it out this close to the holidays, religious subject matter, LDS, weird vibe, could have put this out maybe in the spring. I think it would have done a lot better. Bisho, can we catch back up to some of the chat as we're now moving into the nitty gritty?
Yeah, so Don Tony, his number 3 was
Stoney,
Terrifier
Don
3.
Stoney, Don Stoney.
I said Don Stoney, right?
Oh, they said Tony. I don't know. It sounds familiar.
Yeah, I thought you said Tony also.
All right, it sounded like Tony.
Yeah, I think you said Don Tony.
Maybe I'm unaware of my vocal.
I'm fairly certain Don Tony didn't see any of these movies. Call it
No.
a hunch.
Yeah,
He
highly
probably
doubt.
just watched like The Godfather or something again. Let's see, Chris Matthews, number 3,
Goodfellas.
Heretic. Salute, Don Tony.
Salute,
Chris-
Chindad.
Chris Matthews, number 3 is Heretic.
Oh, well, look at this. It's like
Adam Roche, dude, I almost listed this one.
Love Lies Bleeding. Excellent. I was just talking to Violet about that earlier. My God, what a movie! What a movie!
Joe Punches, Smile 2.
Okay, wow.
John JLD, The Beekeeper with Jason Statham.
Yeah, he was telling me about that too. He was like, I caught the ending of it, John JLD. I watched Jason Statham beat up a man 6 times his size. I unless it's a Marvel movie, I check out. Like I can't do that.
Him and Vin Diesel, they love doing
They like
that.
to beat up. Yeah, they're average sized guys who know some shit, but they can't beat up some dude who's like Brock Lesnar size. It's not happening. Did we catch up with the chat there?
We did. That was all the number 3s that got dropped in the chat. So.
Well, this is it. The top 2. The one and the twos, B show. You're number 2.
My number 2 is probably going to be some people's number 1. It is a movie that has been nominated for numerous awards now, starring Demi Moore, The Substance.
Oh, I thought you were going to say St. Elmo's Fire, but starring.
It is a classic, sir.
It is a classic. St.
I
Elmo's
do have
Fire.
a thing for Rob Lowe and Judd Nelson, mind you.
And it's a wonderful theme song, by the way. St. Elmo's Fire.
Oh God, don't make me sing it. But no, The Substance, man. It had a ton of different shit in it. It was, playing on ageism, the celebrity thing we talked about with Smile 2. It was body horror. It was a little bit crazy. I mean, like we said, that fight at the end turned into like a John Wick, beatdown. It was so bizarre and so out of pocket for anything I would have expected Demi Moore to be starring in, that it just completely caught me off guard, and it delivered on almost every level.
Wow. And it's paying off dividends for the film, as it now has 5 Golden Globe nominees destined for some type of Academy Award nominations. Don't know. What not to say. Shah, obviously, this was going to be a top film for all of us, like unquestionably.
Yeah, man. Again, this movie was almost perfect to me, except for that apartment chase. I feel like they went a little too Kill Bill during that. And it just kind of threw me off. Where I was like, why are you doing this, dude? This is not the feel of the movie. Like, what are you doing? Very original movie, though. I agree with Bisho. I think the word bizarre is the best way to explain this movie, because like there's just so many subgenres that are all just intertwined just to make this movie. It's got the A24 weirdness. It's an art house movie, but it's got almost like a like the body horror aspect of it from the Cronenbergs.
Sure.
So it is a mixture of everything altogether.
Great score too.
Yeah,
by the
amazing
way.
score. A little bit of comedy towards the end. Like it's got literally everything. I loved it, man. Again, my only complaint is those 3-4 minutes of them fighting the apartment really throws me off. Other than that, I would have gave this a 10 out of 10. There's very little movies that move me. Like there's probably a handful I can name over the last 10 years, like Hereditary, Midsommar, Men, Ex Machina. What was the other Alex Garland movie? Annihilation. Like, there's only a handful of these movies where I watched it for the first time and I was like, fuck, that's perfect. Yeah. I thought The Substance was going to be my 6th one to add to that. unfortunately, like I said, the little comedy in there kind of threw me off. But I thought it was an amazing movie, man. I mean, I've
and
got it
again,
pre-ordered.
it's getting the reviews are off the chart. I mean, it's just such a well received film. Shah, your number 2.
Oh man, my number 2 is I was debating on putting this as number 1, man. I fucking love this movie. I didn't think I was gonna like it as much as I did. I thought it was gonna be overhyped, but my number 2 is Strange Darling.
Whoa.
I've watched this twice now, and I am completely in love with this movie. It's not a horror movie. It's a thriller. But yeah, I mean, you mentioned, it kind of is like a Quentin Tarantino movie. It's got those kind of feels to it. And it really does. But, the thing that I love about it is the chapters, because they're there for a purpose and it makes sense. Like I kind of hated it in the beginning because I was like, why are they doing this? They're just trying to be like different for no reason. They're trying too hard. But I fucking absolutely love this movie.
I knew you were going to love it.
I mean, it's the bare minimum, right? It's just like 2 characters in a fucking just running around in the woods. That's all it is.
Maybe has 6 or 7 speaking parts as far as that goes. By the way, that's my number 2. It's Strange Darling. It's probably the best film I saw all year. Bisho, I think you had mentioned when you first saw it, you told us in the chat, like the color palette that they picked for the, because it's shot to film, was like immediately you noticed it like right away.
Yeah, most like I don't want to say primary colors, but the ones you notice, like the green of the trees and the earth, the red, the blue filters, like everything. The color was so saturated, and I noticed when I watched a lot of movies on streaming, it's really washed out or not gray, but I'm trying to remember. I guess it's saturation. But it's very light. A lot of the colors don't really pop from the first moment, like during the credits and the girls running across the field in the red dress. Like everything just popped off screen.
Bleeding.
Yeah. It was a fantastic movie. I'll talk more about it in a minute. Spoiler.
Yeah. And again, that's also my number 2. And the thing I will say this, I think it's the best independent film I've maybe seen in 10 years, like in many years. I mean, like many, like to experience that in a theater, not know anything about it, which by the way, I'm going to rewind a little bit here because this is my number 2. Do you guys remember I went and saw some movie? It might've been Longlegs. And I saw this trailer and I said to you, I saw the craziest trailer. I don't know what the fuck this is. I remember because they tried to push it as if it was a true story, and it has that Texas Chainsaw opening.
Yes.
Do you guys remember that? Because I remember, and I'm like, and then we watched the trailer, and we're like, we don't know what the fuck this is, but that people are saying it's like the best revenge movie. And Shah, you've seen a ton of like independent revenge films. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, again, I'm not even a fan of this subgenre of horror. Like, I'm not into revenge
thriller.
movies.
Yeah, I like the thriller horror revenge.
I mean,
That's okay.
well, just specifically like the revenge movies, like The Last House on the Left, and I Spit on Your Grave and shit like that. I do like Revenge though. The movie Revenge, that's fucking incredible.
Yeah, that's like a perfect film, people.
Dude, if you like this movie, you need to watch.
My brother Mike's been telling me about Revenge. You and Mike have been telling me about Revenge.
You haven't seen it?
No, I just never got around to it.
Really?
Dude. Yeah, and by the way, Joe Punches is confirming this trailer was played before Longlegs.
Okay.
Crazy.
Well, listen, for whoever in the chat, if you like this movie, if you like Strange Darling, and you haven't seen Revenge, check it out as soon as possible. Again, back to what Bisha was saying, the color palette in Revenge, it's incredible. It's in the desert. The sky is fucking bright blue. Yeah. It's gory. It's brutal. But yeah, man, I fucking... And that's actually a great double feature if you do both.
It would probably be an excellent. And Don Stoney is bringing up Giovanni Ribisi, the actor, shot this movie. Was the principal cinematographer, and it was shot on Kodak 35 millimeter color film.
Yeah, you haven't heard Kodak in a long time.
Wow. I think it's the modern Shah. I know this is kind of a dick thing to say. I feel like this is the modern Reservoir Dogs. Like it just has that fucking like Roger Avery produced impact. It reminded me of Killing Zoe, like the color schemes. This movie could have been made in that mid 90s, early 90s Robert Rodriguez Tarantino era, Yeah,
and I think immediately this is already like a cult classic.
Oh,
but if you let this age, this is gonna have such a large following in 10, 15 years. Yeah, dude,
and by the way, before let's give the credit here. That lead actress is a tornado. My fucking God, Bisho. Torn like just this is like a clinic of acting like from this woman and Jeremy Gallner, such a cool
Yeah.
dude. He's having a
Well,
great
I
year.
think you're right. I mean, and you unlocked kind of the secret to the sauce. I think is they don't want you to know what's going on, and neither one of them in their performance gives anything away, and they communicate only what they want you to see, so you think what they want you to think. It's a complete manipulation type of thing. And it's fantastic. And then you only know what you need to know when you need to know it.
Yeah.
And it's fucking perfect. And like the little twists at the end, I'm not
Oh.
going to mention what they are, but like it takes it almost to another level of something that I haven't seen much in movies because of the climate of pop culture and stuff the past 5-10 years. And it was refreshing, not in like a, vengeful haha way, but like, holy shit, they went there.
Yeah, to go in
Wow.
blind, guys. I mean,
Yeah.
Shah, can you think of a better movie to go in blind than that movie?
Shit, maybe Donnie Darko right off the top of my
Yeah,
head.
yeah. It kind of
Something
has
like
a
that.
yeah, just phenomenal. And Kyle Garner, yeah, he seems like a good dude. He's on the internet every day pushing his movies, talking to people. He seems like a laid back skater, like middle aged skater guy. He's having a great run. Willa Fitzgerald, yeah, thank you. I really should know that name. My fucking God, you are a dynamo. If there was any justice in the world, that woman should have got a nomination, but for Golden Globes, I mean, and even the cinematography and like the set, like Barbara Hershey and Ed Begley Jr. are in the goddamn movie. Like, what the fucking fuck?
That was awesome. I remember seeing him in like Tales from the Crypt episodes back in the 90s. And when he shows up as like this biker hippie in the woods, I'm like, what the
Yeah.
fuck is he doing there?
Oh yeah, they're like stoners that live in the woods and listen to podcasts or something. It's very strange. It's a strange
Yeah, they were talking about
film.
Bigfoot. They had speakers
Bigfoot.
outside about Bigfoot sightings and shit.
Yeah, on the podcast. Well, this is it, peeps. We're going to the. I'm sorry. Where are we right now in the countdown? Because we have very similar overlaps.
We got to go to number one.
We got to go. So that was my number 2 and your number.
Yep.
Your number 2.
So,
all right. Well, this is it, Bisho O'Brien. We're going number 1s here.
Well, I got to go back a second and get the chat. Adam Roche, number 2 is Strange Darling.
Wow. Jesus.
Don Stoney. I did it again.
You did it. You fucking did
I
it.
fucking did it. Don Stoney, number 2, Strange Darling.
Jesus Christ.
John JLD, The Substance.
Ooh, excellent.
We've got Chris Matthews with Long Legs.
Yeah, that almost made my number 2 instead.
And Mr. Punch is with The Substance.
Wow. Okay. Well, this is it, people. Our number 1, Bisho O'Brien, take it away. Your number 1 horror film of 2024.
I struggled with this one because, as we've discussed, it's kind of a thriller. Strange Darling.
Yeah.
That's
Could
it.
very
It just,
easily. Yeah.
I knew it.
it just was so good.
I
man.
knew you guys are going to love this movie. I remember texting you both. Like I was like, "Oh my God, I can't tell you about it, but just telling you right now, I've never seen anything like this." Like I was like breathless, texting you guys and my brother. Bisho, I mean, it's absolutely phenomenal.
It's so good. And, you mentioned something about it fits in with like a Robert Rodriguez, Quentin Tarantino type of movie. I wonder if the last generation of filmmakers was leaning heavy on gimmicks or CG, and now this generation of filmmakers is like, nah, fuck that shit. We're just gonna make stuff that's good and it looks good and shoot it on film. And I'm glad to see that because, like I said, from the color choices to the saturation to the film stock to the performances, the creative decisions to shoot it out of order, like
Yes.
everything, like you could have done any one of those things as a gimmick for a movie, and there's a lot of people that probably would. But it was so good, and the story was good, and it all folded together so well that I thought it was more impressive than, I mean, as impressive as Long Legs and Substance and these other movies were throughout the year. I just thought that really took the cake. So
Yeah, and one thing we didn't bring up about that film, Shah, is the music. My understanding is some of that music, those songs were written exclusively for the film. I don't want to get G-checked on that. Like those acoustic, that girl, it's the same woman, I think, singing different songs throughout the movie. It's almost like it was written for it. I could be wrong, but I got the impression that this was written. Some of the songs were written for the film.
Yeah, to be completely transparent with you, I don't really recall the soundtrack at all, to be honest with you. I kind of got like I feel like it almost had like David Lynch tones to it too, a little bit.
The creepiness.
Like Mulholland
Yeah.
Drive kind of,
Yeah, yeah.
I've never seen Twin Peaks, but based off the trailers, kind of reminded me of Twin Peaks a little bit. Just the way it's like shot,
the way it looks, yeah, I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta say, I mean, like, listen, it's just such it could be anybody's number one, Shah, but the kids want to know what's your number one.
I think you already know, man. I think we can all guess what everyone's number one is at this point. The Substance, man. Almost a perfect movie for me, you know. Unfortunately, that one scene had to kind of ruin it, but, you know, I'd still give it a solid, like, 8.5 out of 10, you know, 8 out of 10 maybe. Definitely my favorite movie of the year. And I think it's already an instant classic. I mean, people are fucking praising this movie, dude.
And it's only going to get more popular with the Golden Globe nominations and more mainstream people discovering it. Spoiler alert, it's my number one. I knew it the minute it ended. Like, it just had, I mean, it was a Toxic Avenger movie meets a fucking Cronenberg meets a Existenz meets fucking John Wick. You know, I mean, I couldn't believe this fucking movie. I really just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. It just completely leveled me. The sexuality of it, the violence. It's violent. The Dennis Quaid levity, you know, of that character when he's eating, like, the
I was gonna
little
say, how about that
things.
scene with the shrimp? I wanted to
But he's
throw up.
sucking on the shrimp.
Oh,
like,
same, dude. That was the worst. I fucking
you want to
hated
hate, like, but that was created to paint the, but you hate this man.
Right.
You can't, you find him funny, but you really better hate him because he's a piece of shit. You know, even like the young guy, when she sees her, the guy that she bangs, like her ego bangs, but then he sees her in public and he ignores her, like, because she's old, you know, as if anyone would not find Demi Moore attractive at any stage of life. But, you know, the ending, the levity of the ending, where it felt like that movie, like a Brian Yuzna movie or something, or it felt like Basket Case. They all looked like, she looked like Belial. And it's like, to me, she looks like Belial. Yeah. Or like, you know, but like to like a 30-year-old person, do they know what that is? You just don't see this kind of shit. And quite frankly, like, I'm happy that it's getting the accolades. It's kind of shocking. I mean, I did not think this movie was going to get more Golden Globe nominations than fucking Wicked, Shah. I mean, seriously. It's got 5 major nominations.
This was almost this year's, like, Terrifier 2. You know, as far as it being, like, hyped. I would say so. I mean, what else? I don't think anything else got as much hype as this. I mean, Strange Darling had a pretty large fan base.
Yeah, but nowhere near close. Well, Demi Moore is an A-lister.
No, you're right. Yeah, I mean, that's probably the one. Yeah, I just forget about it because I fucking hated that movie. So I don't know.
Well, Demi Moore is still considered A-list. I mean, she's old school A-lists.
But it's still a very small independent movie, though. You know what I
mean? Yeah. I mean, listen, I don't know anyone who didn't see this that just didn't go, Jesus fucking Christ, Misha. Like, no one I know who's seen it. People who don't love horror, that they just saw it for the hype, or they saw it because, you know, Margaret Qualley is very attractive, or like, you know, whatever. Or Demi Moore is like, they've always loved Demi Moore and always thought she was smoking on or whatever. Like forget your reasons for going to see it. Like, there's no way you could watch this and not be impacted by this movie.
No, and it reminds me of like the Silence of the Lambs back in the day, where like Anthony Hopkins is a great actor, Jodie Foster was a known actor, a great actress, but a known actor. It wasn't so over the top horror that it would turn casual people off.
Yeah, because it was.
But if you like horror movies,
good dialogue, good visuals.
Yeah, and this was much in the same way, where like Demi Moore has been in a lot of stuff, Dennis Quaid's been in a lot of stuff, and it was a way to bring people in. Unlike like a PG-13, I hate to knock Blumhouse again, but a Blumhouse movie that just doesn't. It's a bull with no balls. Essentially, this movie went there.
Oh yeah.
But also was cool if you didn't really like horror movies, because it wasn't over the top gore and blood and.
I think I honestly, Bisha, I think if you're not a fan of horror, or like violent movies, you couldn't, like, it wouldn't be easy to get through this movie. Yeah.
In parts, I can see that. Yeah.
Like the first transformation's pretty intense with the spine, and it was like the Fly. I mean, like it was like, you know,
even when she's getting her like face bashed in, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Was
it
had
old? Levity to it.
What does she say when she's stabbing her? Old, something ugly. Oh,
yeah,
man.
I can't remember. Yeah, there's really no movie like it. And it kind of just came out of fucking nowhere in the latter part of the year, blew up. Again, it looks like it's destined for some Oscar conversations. You know, but I don't know anybody who was not affected by this film. Hey, before we get to a couple of honorable mentions, and on the post show, we're going to be talking about the shit that just did not land. like things that we were disappointed in for the post show. But before we get to honorable mentions, B show, do we have everybody's caught up for the chat? Their number ones.
Yeah, Don Stoney redid his top 5. Okay, so 6 The Substance, 5 Long Legs, 4 Smile, uh, Terrifier 3 at number 3, Strange Darling at number 2, Heretic at number 1.
Wow. Okay.
Let's see. Number 1 for Don Stoney was The Heretic.
Mhm.
Chris Matthews was The Substance.
Wow.
Adam Roche, Cuckoo.
Wow. Well, I was going to talk about that in a minute. My honorable mentions.
Joe Punches at Strange Darling,
Wow,
and I
geez.
believe that's everybody in the chat.
Wow. Well, listen, let's talk a couple of things that just didn't quite make the cut. Just a couple of movies, if you want to throw out like maybe 2 or 3 movies, Shah, that, you know, in any other year would have been in that top 5.
Yeah, I'll just kind of briefly run through mine. Honestly, before I say this, man, I'm shocked that Terrifier didn't make any of our top 5.
People brought up Maxine as well.
Yeah. Well, I was going to mention that. Maxine, I'd probably put that as like my number 6. Terrifier, Smile is another one. Immaculate, I fucking loved. I thought that was going to make my top 5, to be honest.
Yeah, I thought it was immediately in your top 5.
So
I kept waiting for you to mention it.
that's up there, man. I probably put that maybe on my number 7.
Okay.
And then the last 2, I would say The Front Room. I just recently watched that.
Oh, okay.
None of us have probably watched that yet, but
Mhm.
if you go into it expecting a comedy, it's a good movie.
Okay,
It is
then that's
not
what I'll
scary.
do. That's
Dude,
what
it's
I'll
a
do.
fucking comedy. It's 100% comedy.
Then that's
You
what
know
I'll
what I
do.
mean? And
Okay.
last one, VHS, man, the alien one.
Oh, yeah, because you liked a couple of the segments.
I love
there.
the end, dude. That ending
Okay.
segment fucking terrified me.
B show, the ones that didn't quite make the cut.
Honestly, any of these 3 could have. The one that I took off just because people said it was a body horror movie, and I kind of get it, but to me, it didn't really rate as a horror movie. Was Love Lies Bleeding. I thought the performances were awesome. I thought it was
Brutal
such
movie.
a strange movie, just so out of the blue, so different than anything else. Not just the twist and all that, but like just the tone, the subject matter.
Oh God.
Ed Harris looking like fucking
What a
Dr.
performance.
Satan.
What a fucking performance from him. Jeez.
Like, I don't want to ruin anything, but like there's a scene where like they walk up to the pit where the cars are, and I think he just like casually is about to cast his daughter in there. It's like, Jesus, this guy's evil.
Yeah, he's Satan.
Yeah, and I thought I just thought that movie was very well done, but it just wasn't horror enough for me. So it probably would have been like number 4 on my list. But
it was one of my favorite films of the year, easily.
Yeah.
Like outside of that, which we might touch on in the post. For me, Terrifier, I really enjoyed it. Didn't enjoy it as much as the previous film, and I think, and I don't want to say if it was last year, but maybe it could have made it because last year was pretty deep too. Also, I did enjoy Cuckoo quite a bit. It was such a strange film. It was not like anything that I had anticipated. I'm watching it again tomorrow. But that also would have possibly have been on my list for sure. And then I forget what the other one. It was Cuckoo, because I was oscillating with Cuckoo and Terrifier. Cuckoo, Terrifier, and Maxine. Those 3 for me would have very easily made a top 8. In any other year, I think I would have put them in there. But before we get over to the Patreon, I just want to mention.
I had another.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I would agree on Maxine. I thought it was good. I just didn't think it was as strong for
As
what
the
I
previous
expected
films.
coming from the other 2. And then Immaculate. I had Immaculate on my list and took it off. I liked Immaculate more than what was it called? The First Omen.
Yeah.
Just again for a lot of the same reasons of just the ancient type of shit and like the little touches with like the nail from the cross being worked into the iconography of the movie. Just I thought it really worked, but
that was the best part. I love that.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that in the post, I think, because I don't want to get into it now for me, because I think you're both going to find what I'm going to say very strange. But non-horror related properties, does any couple movies stand out to either one of you that would never be in this category, but that you enjoyed, whether it was a comedy, whether it was,
Honestly, Beetlejuice. I like that a lot, to be honest with you.
I'm watching it this weekend.
Shit on it.
I'm watching it this weekend.
I thought it was very fun. I really enjoyed it. So I have no complaints about that. I'm trying to think of at least another one. You guys go ahead if you have any other ones.
Okay,
but
B
Did we
show.
watch? Did we watch Axel F this year, or was that last year?
Yes, that was this year. That was the summer. Came out 4th of July.
Yeah, so I'll add that one on there too. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. I don't get why people are shitting on that movie.
Yeah, I don't
Like
get it
it,
either. I'm looking forward to watching it. You know, my brother Mike said it was fine. He just didn't blow me away, but it was good. It wasn't bad.
yeah. It's just a fun movie to watch. It's not going to be
Mhm.
the original, so I don't know. People are weird, man.
Any other movies stand out for you, B?
I'm trying to figure out other movies that I watched that weren't horror movies, but most of the movies I watched were either kids movies or horror movies.
Yeah,
Most of
well,
it
for
check
me,
out.
Deadpool Wolverine was so goddamn enjoyable. What a
Oh fuck yeah!
fun movie. There's no way you can't watch that and not have a good time. Shah, I can't wait for you to watch this movie. It's just so fun. I really enjoyed Dune too. I started the year out going, I think it was one of my favorite films. It's very good. Like it's very good. It's gorgeous. It moves well. I'm not big on the lineage there, so I'm not like a Dune person. So it's easy for me to say that. I enjoyed that quite a bit, but those two kind of stand out to me. And a lot of I just saw it today. I don't know if you guys saw, but Christopher Nolan was asked what his favorite film was. I don't know if you guys saw this, and he said his favorite film. This is Christopher fucking Nolan, Gladiator 2, which I thought was funny for him to say.
Wow.
But I have a feeling, Shah, that Christopher Nolan loves Ridley Scott. like he's probably like, a guy. He's an older guy. He's probably thinks Ridley Scott is like a legend, and wanted to throw him a prop there. I wouldn't put that in my favorite films. I thought it was fine. But Love Lies Bleeding, I would definitely put up there as one of my Love Lies Bleeding, Deadpool. I liked Axel F fine. It was a fun time for me to watch. A lot of levity there. But those kind of movies stand out. Anything else you want to add to the list there, Sean?
Not that I can think of. I see Don Stoney mentioned Twisters. I heard really good things about Twister.
That's on Peacock now, currently.
I do want to check that out for sure. And Gladiator 2. Those are the two that I'd like to check out. Doubt I'll see Gladiator 2 in theaters, but I already have it pre-ordered. So
yeah, and of course, look, Nosferatu's coming out next week. I'm sure we're going to have a lot to say about that going into the new year. So we're going to head on over to the post, and what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the things that just didn't land there. So be an excellent time to head on over to the Patreon, and of course, a quick reminder to our Patreon pals that you'll be getting your. I'll probably get a drop. I'd like to try to drop my holiday show for them this weekend. I'll talk to you offline.
Okay.
But you'll be getting, each one of us will be doing a special show for you guys in the Patreon exclusively between now and the end of the year. And please keep in mind, for a program note, we will be going live Monday at 8:30 for a regular show, no post show there for the holiday, and the following Monday. We're going to be talking about Christmas movies, if there was any new developments there as far as that goes. And of course, we'll probably, revisit some of our favorite Christmas horror that we talked about. That doesn't seem to be any new ones this year that stood out to me, unless other people. I am very behind in my Christmas movies, something we were going to talk about on the new show. But thank you guys so much for chilling with us. Let's plug our pals. Let's plug Hey Now Rich Dow. Let's plug Deathmatch Outlaws, the Drew Yari Experience, Cassette Classics 86 on YouTube, the Down Under Thundercast, Don, Tony, and Kevin Castiglione. They do their show every Monday. And, of course, the Wrestling Soup. Necromaniacs podcast, they're going to be getting their top 6 out. You're going to want to hear their top 6. I'm sure it's going to be very different from ours. I can guarantee it. The Inhuman Experience podcast, and of course, Ringsiders Wrestling on YouTube, my good friends in the UK. Mojo and Dirk's Most Dastardly Show, The Garden of Doom, The Old Guy Metalcast, MJW Games, Cherry Jesus on YouTube and his band Kaiser. The Red River podcast, that's Sam Hoyos' podcast there, and his band Playing Dead. The Bayou Geeks, Fatty 316, the High Marks podcast, Midnight Mass, Creature Cast, The Weekly Detour with Anthony Allison and Teddy, Guns and Geeks podcast, and of course, Shah, the Planet Mondo. We want them hitting that, maybe for the new year, you might be putting out some new product.
yeah, possibly sometime in the spring. I'm hoping to come back. But yeah, for now, just go subscribe. Planet Mondo.
Yeah, hit that subscribe and of course the Bistro Brian channel. Any holiday tips or trinkets or anything like that coming up for the Bistro Brian channel?
No, I mean, just ran out of time with holidays coming up. So stay tuned in the new year. What I might try to do is record batch stuff and put it up as seasons, so I'm not doing it all the time.
I like
that
that
way it's more
idea.
manageable.
That's an excellent idea. And
Go
of course, hit that
subscribe.
subscribe for the B Show Brian channel. Please do hit that subscribe button and hit that subscribe for Spitball Media and tell a friend and get in on that Patreon, guys. $5. There is nothing in 2025 is going to be costing $5. I guarantee you. I guarantee it. Okay. Somebody was telling me, I think they paid my brother was talking about something. He ordered a beer somewhere and it was it was a Modelo. It was $9 in a bar in Brooklyn. $9 Modelo. Yeah, Modelo, $9. That'll cost you about $1.75 in a bodega, anywhere I think in America. So $5, it'll get you to Patreon. You'll have like something like close to well over 1,000 hours of exclusive content. It keeps the lights on in these places, which is nice. So you could see how much I'm aging, as far as those go. Don Stoney, I don't have a lot of thoughts on the drones. I've just been so busy. Everybody keeps asking me about the drones, and I'm like, until they just start killing us, I'm not that interested. I think it's the government looking for something. That's just my thing. Do you guys have any final drone comments in case it is an alien invasion?
Well, I definitely don't think it's aliens. I actually saw one pretty close to my town.
Mhm.
It's clearly like human made. It's not aliens.
I think it's the government.
Yeah, I think it's the government, and it's probably some kind of army program. They're trying out some new shit. I don't know.
They're never going to tell you. They don't tell.
Yeah, they're not going to tell you. Well, they did mention that if you happen to come across like a drone crash site, not to go near it and to report to the FBI. And I'm like, oh, we're gonna make it more shady. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
call the FBI.
B-Show, do you think it's the government? Do you think it's aliens? Do you think it's astronauts? Do you wonder what's inside their butthole? Like the song goes. Maybe it's aliens. Maybe it's astronauts.
No, I think it's the government. And I've heard people say it might be NASA doing some sort of like access drill, trying to see how far.
I think they would have said that so everyone could be like, oh, it's NASA. That's lovely. We love NASA.
The other thing is that they're looking for nuclear material that was stolen or went missing. And that they do like nuclear search signatures at night or something like that.
Yeah, it could be a bunch of like animals that could kill us, and they're loose somewhere, and it's going to make an awesome movie.
Well, there was also the rumor that AI went sentient, and they tried to shut it down and tried to stop itself from being shut
Skynet.
down. So there you go.
2 words, Skynet. But yeah, in case drones kill us, happy holidays to all of you. We're going to see you Monday, of course. But, in case the drones come, at least we got our top 5 out. Hey, consider joining us on the Patreon. We're going to see you special Monday, 8:30 live. We're going to do a little holiday show there for you. So have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy life. Thank you for hanging out with us. This was a lot of fun. And we're going to see you guys Monday for the Christmas show. Have a great weekend.